Aquarius, this is your week ahead astrology forecast by Astrology Motivation from Born Without Boundaries. Guys, in these weekly videos, I review the major planetary aspects and transits and how they aspect your natal sun based on your birth date. And what that means for your bottom line. So all you need to know is your birth date. Everything else I'll translate for you. I'm going to start off really broad with the charts for the week, the global energy, and then I'll focus that down into Capricorn specific energy, and then I'll break everything down into the 3 decans of Capricorn, which will help me locate your natal sun and determine what aspects are impacting your natal sun. Disclosure, full disclosure, the birth date ranges are going to be estimates. The most accurate is always going to be to get your natal chart and find out which degree your sun sits on in the zodiac sign of Aquarius. Just an FYI. So this is for the week of September 20th to the 26th, 2023. The biggest thing going on this week is the season change. That's right, we're officially entering fall on September 23rd when the autumnal equinox occurs early in the morning. I'm in the continental United States, so it's going to be on September 23rd, which is when the sun enters Libra. Actually, if you're in California, the sun will technically enter Libra at 11:59 p.m. Just made it on the 22nd. But for most of us here, it's going to be on the 23rd, definitely Europe and Scandinavia and definitely India and all of those sort of, I don't even know the demarcation on the globe. East of it is definitely also going to be on the 23rd. Hawaii, Alaska, you guys are definitely on the 22nd. But that's when Libra season starts. So happy Libra season. Now, the sun is going to be in opposition to Neptune all week long. In fact, it's in opposition to Neptune until the very end of this week on the 26th. That is complex energy because it is self-deceptive and it's more easy to believe BS when the sun is in opposition to Neptune. So it makes our brains foggy and more malleable to fantasy, and so it's easier to distract us, sleight of hand, and take advantage of us. So just an FYI, especially with global news, this is something you want to focus on. Mars is also in a very difficult opposition to Chiron right now. Mars is also sesic quadrate, which is a minor aspect to Saturn, but still, because Saturn is semi-square to Chiron and they're all interacting, Saturn and Mars are both malefic energy, so any ways which they rub together can be quite challenging and disruptive. This opposition to Chiron is just, I can't do anything right. The sense of no matter what I do, it turns out wrong, or it seems to end up in failure. It can be very discouraging energy, and it can be energy that makes people push too hard and open them up to greater injury, whether that be to their physicality, which of course is where Chiron is in Aries, and Mars is in Libra, or to their relationships or just their state of balance in general. This sense of finding it difficult to find any progress. But I think that what's really going on is we're being intentionally slowed down and we're being intentionally made aware or humbled so that we don't fall victim to so many things. There's this sense of just holding back so they take more time to think about it, is what I think we're really being asked to do right now. Mars is sextile to Venus as well, so there is virility there. There is energy and opportunity there to take action, especially financially and romantically, or the way that we value things. But some actions may be coming into question this week. We also have Venus, which is very active, sextile to Mars. We already talked about that, but simultaneously, she is square to Jupiter until the 24th. And by the 21st, she's also going to start being square to Uranus. So the 21st, 24th, and 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, Venus is going to be square to both Jupiter and Uranus. If you remember a couple months ago when she was in retrograde during Leo season, she was also in this aspect with them, and it's very challenging and disruptive energy because it's indulgent while it's being rebellious. So there is that energy of really churning up some guts when it, not violence at all, but like churning up some bull when it comes to relationships and finances. Definitely want changes and want something different, and that could make us risk being overindulgent and risk what we have established. Just an FYI. But Venus, this is what makes me give pause. Venus is also trying to Chiron, which means she is grounded. She's not acting randomly. She's acting out of a sense of healing and not wanting to make the same mistakes again. So whatever she's finding pleasure in or indulgence in, or it's almost like maybe she's trying to make up for lost time, make up for what she's missed. But also, when any trying to Chiron, there's a sense of wisdom because of what you've learned and what you've understood from the challenging times that you've had. So these squares could actually just be a reaction to definitely wanting to change things and reconfiguring our value systems. We also have Mercury trine to Jupiter, which is a lot of big talk, a lot of talk, and a lot of eloquent talk, interesting, fantastic information. Mercury trine Jupiter, it's better to be a listener and to be able to discern, like, what you're hearing it will always be interesting. It will always be interesting, but is it real? Like, does it really matter? Is it as important as it says it is? This is also important energy. So there's a lot of reasons to be distracted and easily deceived right now. We're going to get through this week. It's going to be fine. But ultimately, easily distracted and maybe even a little bit more tired. A lot of times when Neptune is heavily active, we go into our dream world a lot more. And honestly, sleep is something that you might need at this point. So let's get into Aquarius specific energy. What I look for with Aquarius specific energy is what's going on in Aquarius, and then what's going on with Aquarius's ruling dignitaries. Now, its modern ruler and main ruler is Uranus, of course, but Saturn is its traditional ruler, and we've got to look at that too. The rulers are almost like seasonings. They will flavor and season your behavior. So it's very good to always know where your ruling dignitary is and what is impacting it. You think it's difficult to have two? Try to having the moon. It's only one, but it moves every 2.5 days, and it's always interacting with something new every single day. Hello. So, it's easier with planets that don't move that much. Other planets move around it and interact with it, which is what's going on with Uranus and Saturn. So in Aquarius, there's really nothing going on. Nothing big, nothing major, no major planets or aspects. Saturn is in Pisces. It's going to retrograde from 2 degrees Pisces to 1 degree Pisces. It will retrograde all the way back before it goes direct on November 4th. It will retrograde all the way back to 0 degrees Pisces, but it will not leave Pisces. No, it's staying in Pisces. So it's going from 2 to 1 degrees Pisces this week. It is trine the south node and sextile to the north node, which means Saturn has direct interaction, rules, laws, regulations, contracts, obligations, debts. All of that stuff is very harmonious with a change, with a switch up, with approving what it hasn't approved or finding opportunity where it hasn't found opportunity before. Saturn is very difficult energy to change. So this interaction with the nodes is really, really interesting. This sense of a change in what isn't easy to change. Then we have the Sesequic quadrate to Mars. Sesequic quadrate, like I said, is it's not a major aspect because they're both malefic energies and they really can cause a lot of tension when they're rubbing together. This is about restriction and feeling like you're always being judged and you can't make the moves or the progress that you want. Can be quite frustrating energy. So that can add to a lot of anger and outbursts, etc. Just an FYI. As far as Uranus goes, this is your modern ruler. Uranus is in Taurus, still at 22 degrees Taurus, still in retrograde. Be retrograde all the way up through January of next year. Uranus is still trine to Pluto, long-term trine to Pluto, long-term sextile to Neptune, current square to Venus, very new. So Uranus is already, with its interactions with Pluto and Neptune, in a very dynamic energy for the next 10 years, something like that. Like just, for some years. Actually, not 10 years for Uranus, but for at least the next 2 years. So there's this sense of a lot of change and a lot of things, a lot of breakthroughs and different thoughts and new, unique, outside of the box thoughts happening. This week is square to Venus, which means all this energy can challenge current financial systems, your finances, can challenge your relationships, your balance within relationships, or make you almost excitable, like, I got to try something I've never tried before. I don't want to do the same old thing. So if you're feeling kind of like agitated by things that, just last week you were fine with, there is that sense of this square to Venus making you desire things that you haven't desired before, and essentially attracted to stuff that is outside of your norm, which can very much disrupt your norm, especially when it comes to romantic relationships. This energy is best dealt with honestly, openly, and together. If you guys can be open to trying things together, it could bring you much closer. And if you give each other respect and trust and the ability to be individual and independent right now, that's going to help a lot too. That will actually strengthen the relationship instead of break it. Any kind of clinginess or oversensitivity or codependency is going to break down under this energy. Just an FYI. So let's go on to the decans. If you know that your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Aquarius, it's in the first 10 degrees of Aquarius. You guys are Aquarius 1. This correlates to Aquarian birthdays that are basically in January 22nd through the 31st of January, about there. Could be the 21st, could be up through the 1st of February. It's in and around those dates. Your natal suns are conjunct to Pluto, but only if you're at the cusp. Only if your birthday's like the 22nd, 23rd of January. That would be you guys. This is a very dynamic period for you. You already know that. There's an energy about yourself that is more formidable, more serious, and I don't take no shit than it usually is. It's just more intense. Now, you have a trine to the sun this week. If you're a cusp, it's all week long. But if you're not a cusp, it starts on the 23rd, really. So this trine to the sun will give you a great deal of confidence, and with that conjunction to Pluto, people will not be able to say no to you. They'll be too afraid. And honestly, so this is a definite time to use your charisma and personal strength and power this week to the best effect, the maximum effect. If something's important to you, you can get it done. You also have on the 4th a conjunction to the moon. On the 24th, excuse me. You should know that when the moon conjuncts Pluto, this is very challenging energy. So the 24th in particular can be a very moody, you could be very emotional and experiencing extreme emotions that you can't really control. They come from somewhere very primal. So it's definitely time to give yourself an easier day on that day. It's just going to be easier for you. Let's go on to Aquarius 2s. So if you know that your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Aquarius, it's in the second decan of Aquarius. You guys are Aquarius 2s. This correlates to Aquarian birthdays generally between February 1st and the 10th, maybe 11th. Your natal suns are in a long-term semi-square to Neptune, which can be easily distractible, but highly activated by creativity, excited by creative things. It's sextile to Chiron, which means there's an energy that churns inside of you that just wants to make a difference and wants to empower people to not suffer the way that you've suffered. However way that comes out, it will definitely be a theme for you. You also have your natal suns are also square to Uranus in Taurus. Square to Jupiter in Taurus. This can be very big-headed energy, getting ahead of yourself, rushing things, feeling like you're optimistic, yes, but you feel like you have to rush things or you deserve more credit than you do. So it's really good to check your ego during this configuration, and it lasts for a while. So just an FYI. Definitely be optimistic, but being realistic and taking the actual amount of time and maintaining your standards is really, really important during that square to Jupiter. On the 25th, your natal suns are conjunct the moon. This will put it in opposition to Venus and square to Jupiter. This is the kind of energy where you will want to eat your feelings, overindulge in wine, food, maybe even sex. A feeling of absolute, I need to be loved. 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 But there's a difficulty actually feeling loved. So it's almost like a desperation. This is not a good day to meet anybody. This is not a good day to judge your current partner harshly. This is a day to sort of focus on self-care and gratitude for the love that you know that you have, to help reinforce and support yourself through this rather distracting and challenging energy. And then we have a trine to Mars all week long. So there is an ease in action and an ease in movement. And so what is easy for you, you will incline towards. So it could be that you act really quickly and don't think before you act. Now with a trine to Mars, that could actually work out for you. But ultimately it is definitely more of a time, more of a week to be soothing and be easy on yourself. And then we have, let's go to Aquarius 3s. So if you know that your natal sun is between 20 and 21 degrees Aquarius, it falls in the third decan of Aquarius. You guys are Aquarius 3s. This correlates to birthdays basically February 11th or 12th all the way up through the 19th, 20th, depending on when Aquarius season ended the year that you were born. Your natal suns are in a long-term conjunction to Saturn if you're at the a cusp of Pisces. So that would be the 18th, 19th, 20th, around there. This would be you guys. You're in conjunction with Saturn because Saturn has come back so far in its retrograde. It's going to be at 1 degree by the end of the week. Your natal suns are definitely back in conjunction with Saturn again. What does that mean? Kind of taking like a sense of maturity, a sense of personal authority. It'll give you a sense of knowing who the hell you are and being okay with taking the lead and leadership. It could also make you bossy or pushy or condescending. So there is a suggestion to, I guess, to be conscious, to be aware of how you use your energy so that it's not able to take over you. Just an FYI. Your natal suns are also sextile to the north node and trine the south node. So there are opportunities in areas that once made you feel really uncomfortable, but the level of comfort with who you are and where you come from is actually going to open up those doors and those new directions, and it's quite exciting. I think that there's a lot of opportunities that maybe you wouldn't have taken before, but you're comfortable taking now. And then we have, maybe because you're more prepared, and then we have that long-term square to Uranus, which does mean rebellion, independence, staking your claim to your own personal identity, individualism. It's not odd to want to be single, or at least be able to be free and unencumbered by commitment during this long-term aspect to your natal sun. But on the 26th, your natal suns are going to be conjunct the moon. Considering they're also conjunct Saturn, this can actually really be a very effectual and strong energy for you, to be honest with you. So this could be a really nice energy, though the moon is also going to be says a square to Mars. That can be kind of tumultuous. You will take all emotions much more seriously and severely on that day. That's the only thing I will mention. I don't think it's like you're taking them to heart, but you could be more defensive about them toward other people. So just an FYI, but with that Saturn energy, there's also a lot of grounded energy to you too, so you may be able to really handle and manage your emotions much better than Aquarius 1 or 2s. So you guys let me know how this energy is impacting you, how you're experiencing it, and then definitely remember to subscribe to the channel so we grow here on Astrology Motivation. Please remember to like this video, and if you know somebody who you think would like it too, share it with them so they can enjoy it. I love you guys so much, and I invite you over to Born Without Boundaries for your week ahead tarot card reading. I'll talk to you in the videos. Bye, guys.